2017 saw the release of the Nintendo Switch, something that would become their best-selling console and my favourite console since its release. Along with it came the Switch's killer app, Breath of the Wild, one of the most critically acclaimed games ever. This year also saw Super Mario Odyssey, and possibly the most influential game for the landscape we live in right now, that being PUBG. Still, the record holder for the most concurrent players on Steam are over 3.2 million concurrent players. That is absolutely absurd. Besides these three, one game was released and became my favourite game of all time until one in 2022, and that is Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, throw your shit at me picking Horizon over Breath of the Wild, but honestly I think it's better for me. Breath of the Wild is a close second though. They're quite similar, but I think Horizon just has a bit more with its characters and story. Horizon was made by Guerrilla and was a new IP after the Killzone series they were known for, and it is a stellar opening to a new franchise, with just the right amount of pretty much everything. As Goldilocks says, this one's just right. The story of the game stars you as an outcast Aloy, learning of who she is and trying to prove herself and become an expert survivor, uncovering secrets of herself and the robotic machines that cohabitate this post-apocalyptic world. A world seemingly thrown back into a prehistoric era with the destruction of modern civilization scattered and overgrown throughout the world. Get to explore some of these ruins to discover things that you never thought possible, fighting rival tribes and finding out who you are, why you're an outcast, and what you need to do to stop the new looming apocalyptic threat. The world itself is so intriguing, as you have absolutely no idea at the start what this world is, how it came to be, and what your place is in it, especially as you get to explore a lot of the ruins from the previous civilization and get to know who they were, finding data logs and trinkets inside, giving Aloy a glimpse at what life was like and giving clues into what happened to this world. Along with that, each tribe is different in their own customs and traditions and are always recognisable, with the robotic machines in this world that are the main obstacle throughout, posing a threat most of the time. But finding out how they were created, what made them, and why they were made, it is such an interesting world to be in, and explore some of the most beautiful environments with vast expansive deserts, lush forests with machines hidden, and my favourite, the snowy mountains of Nora and Banuk in the DLC. These environments are just stunning, almost feeling endless, and getting on a mountain riding through them is just so relaxing by itself. You could spend hours just travelling and not want to use the fast travel system at all. And then the environments of the ancient ruins show a lovely technologically advanced building overgrown with foliage and rock, creating a creepy atmosphere as they are abandoned facilities, and that is always creepy. And then cauldrons, which are fully mechanical and look brand new, which well makes sense for what they are. And in these environments, parkour is the way to get around most of the time, but being limited to these yellow hang points. Something changed in the sequel, but climbing all the way up a tower and seeing what you've climbed is immense and a beautiful sight. Throughout the story, I love how the secrets slowly unravel as you play through the game, finding out where the robots came from, how the world was destroyed, how life carried on, and who Aloy is, and why she alone is the chosen one. Okay, that bit is a bit too much, let's be honest, but the scenes where you find out what happened to Earth are great, and I loved every bit of unravelling the mysteries. But every time something was answered, that was never the whole story. There was always something else to find out, and I think it's just the right amount of revealing something without giving everything away halfway through the game. There is always something to discover and a new piece to add to the puzzle, and it can get quite dark at some points, especially within some of the massive ruins later on in the game. Aloy is first and foremost a hunter, and any good hunter needs an arsenal of weapons to take on any challenge that comes to them, and Aloy certainly has a great arsenal with so much choice that allows you to take on the game in many different ways. There are bows of course, but then subcategories of bows within that, with hunter bows being the most basic of bows and being the ones that you'll probably use mostly for killing people or animal hunting, and can come equipped with fire arrows for some elemental damage at the cost of resources. The sharp shot bows take ages to draw but give massive damage in return, and war bows are full of elemental damage arrows, giving you the chance to destroy machines faster if they are weak to a certain element. The bows acts as your main weapon of choice, and I find myself using 2 or 3 at a time. But then the game has weapons that allow for different playstyles. If you are someone who likes the stealth aspect of the game, then you can get your hands on either a rope caster or a trip caster. They allow you to bolt an enemy down to the ground, allowing for a strike that does massive damage, or the trip caster serves as a tripwire that could shock a machine or set them alight. There's even more fun to be had with slings that can lob explosives or elemental bombs dealing massive damage, but there are many other weapons like the tear blaster or rattler as well. But the weapons can be enhanced with coils that can buff damage or elemental types, and all this put together makes it so fun taking a machine down, especially something big like a Thunderjaw. and using the focus, the technical MacGuffin of the universe, allowing you to track things and see weak points on enemies, you feel like a true badass taking off a Thunderjaw's weapons and using it on itself. Oh man, it's so satisfying. And this mix of weaponry and technology makes for such a great combat system, as you can take on any machine however you want. So you may just go run and gun in for watchers and the like, but for biggies you can hide in the grass, set a bunch of traps in the area so they have no chance of escape. But any great game like this must have things to waste your time on besides the main story, and I mean that in a good way. Side quests and extras that you can get lost in for hours. The big one of the game is the Hunter's Lodge. To become part of the lodge, you must complete trials throughout the world and hone your skills to become an expert hunter, with some being easier and some being difficult, striving for that gold medal in order to get access to some of the game's best weapons and become part of the lodge. Taking part in a quest to hunt machines, eventually taking on the big bad red maw. There are also things called cauldrons. They act as a dungeon of sorts, with few machines to deal with as you traverse the machine factories with parkour puzzles to figure out, taking on a final boss machine, and the main reason to complete the cauldrons is to unlock the abilities to corrupt machines for yourself, so they can become a mount or an ally, helping you out against something else. The cauldrons are something a bit unique and are always a challenge, especially the later ones, but are certainly a worthwhile investment and are really fun. The characters in the game aren't the greatest ever seen, but are serviceable, with some standouts being Silent, rest in peace Lance Reddick, my commander, and I really like Rost, as he really cares about Aloy and is conflicted inside, which any parental figure usually is, and wants what's best for Aloy. The rest of the characters are good as well, although not too complex or three-dimensional, but it doesn't detract too much, as the character moments we get are good enough. Art style and graphics are phenomenal in this game. The art style of the architecture, the foliage, the general environments, and how overgrown ruins are some of the best I have ever seen up to this point, with graphics and details being phenomenal as well, making some landscapes look nearly photorealistic. Especially now with the PC release that allows for even better graphics, make Horizon one of the best looking games up to 2017. And I can't wait for Forbidden West to come to the PC as well, as that will look incredible and be probably one of the best in the world. The game did have a DLC called The Frozen Wilds, which sees you help the Banuk in the north and take down another evil entity who will blow up the Yellowstone caldera. It had some new machines, with the brother bear duo of the Frostclaw and the Fireclaw, which are some nice new machines, and add Blue Gleam, which adds a new currency to get some new weapons and armour and is a great addition to the game and a must play. Now most people will probably put Breath of the Wild, and that's fine, but to me this was the game that kept me playing on the PS4, as it was just a bonus game. I got my PS4 to play the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, but this surprised me so much and became my favourite game of all time until 2022. So maybe it's a bit sentimental to me, but I love this game to death, and that's why it's my 2017 Game of the Year. And if you want to find out what the Game of the Year for 2018 is, click subscribe and or click on the playlist to watch the entire Game of the Year series. Bye bye.